You are standing in front of someone you want. The air shifts. Your chest tightens. Your brain accelerates into a cascade of calculations. What do I say? How do I seem interesting? How do I make them see me? And then you speak. The words leave your mouth before you can catch them. You watch their face. The micro-expression. The slight shift in posture. The polite smile that doesn't reach their eyes. Something changed. The distance between you just widened by a millimeter. But a millimeter in attraction is a canyon in reality. You don't know what you said wrong. You were being honest. You were being yourself. You were being vulnerable. And that, precisely that, is why you lost. Because attraction is not a democracy. It is not about fairness or authenticity or who deserves what. Attraction is a courtroom where the verdict is passed in seconds, and the jury is composed of ancient, reptilian instincts that do not care about your resume or your good heart. Machiavelli understood something that the modern world refuses to teach you. Power is not about what you are. It is about what you appear to be. And in the theater of seduction, every word you speak is either elevating your status or demolishing it. There is no neutral ground. You are either ascending or descending in their mental hierarchy with every syllable. Most people walk into romantic interactions like children walking into a casino. They have no idea what game is being played. They think honesty is the currency. They think sincerity is the strategy. They are wrong. The currency is perception. The strategy is control. Control of the frame. Control of the tension. Control of the mystery. And the moment you say certain things, you hand over that control. You step out of the role of the prize and into the role of the beggar. You turn yourself from the lion into the gazelle. And the gazelle does not get chosen. The gazelle gets eaten or ignored. Let's be clear. This is not about lying. This is not about becoming a manipulative sociopath. This is about understanding the invisible architecture of human desire. It is about recognizing that your crush is not evaluating you based on objective merit. They are evaluating you based on how you make them feel about themselves when they are around you. Do you make them feel pursued or secure? Do you make them feel uncertain or comfortable? Do you make them wonder, or do you answer every question before they ask it? These are the variables that determine whether you become an obsession or a footnote. The battlefield is your mouth. The weapons are your words. And most people are walking into war with grenades labeled honesty and openness, pulling the pins and throwing them at their own feet. Let's examine the first detonation. I really like you. It sounds innocent. It sounds brave. It sounds like the thing romantic comedies tell you to do. Speak your truth. Be vulnerable. Let them know how you feel. But here is what actually happens when you say this too early, before the chase has run its course, before they have invested anything into you. You collapse the tension. Tension is the electricity of attraction. It is the space between the known and the unknown. It is the question without an answer. When you announce your feelings prematurely, you answer the question they were enjoying asking themselves. Does this person want me? The moment they know the answer is yes, the game ends. Not because they are cruel, but because human beings are wired to value scarcity and challenge. We do not treasure what comes easily. We treasure what we had to work for. Machiavelli warned princes never to reveal their hand too soon. The same applies here. When you confess your feelings without them earning it, without them demonstrating investment, you are not being courageous. You are being strategically reckless. You are lowering your value by signaling that you have already decided they are worth more than you. Because if you like them this much, this fast, what does that say about your options? What does that say about your standards? Subconsciously, they register this. And subconsciously, they begin to wonder if maybe you are not as valuable as they initially thought. The person who holds their cards close is the person who commands respect. The person who lays their cards on the table is the person who gets walked over. Not because the world is fair, but because the world is a hierarchy, And hierarchies are determined by who needs whom more. I'm not really talking to anyone else right now. This is the death sentence of abundance mentality. You think you are being loyal. You think you are being transparent. You think you are signaling that they are special. But what they hear is this: I have no other prospects. You are my only option. I am available, untested, and possibly desperate. Attraction is a market. In a market, value is determined by demand. If no one else wants what you are offering, why should they? If you are sitting on the shelf collecting dust, it suggests there is something wrong with the product. You do not have to lie. You do not have to invent fictional suitors. But you also do not have to voluntarily announce your scarcity. Scarcity of attention is attractive. Scarcity of desperation is magnetic. When they sense that you have a life, options, and a world that does not revolve around them, they lean in. When they sense that you are waiting by the phone, refreshing their Instagram, planning your entire week around their availability, they lean back. Machiavelli advised that a prince should never let his dependents be known. The moment you reveal that you need them, you give them the keys to your nervous system. They can now control you by withholding attention. They can test you by disappearing. They can manipulate you by being inconsistent, because they know you will wait. The person who is pursued does not announce their availability. They simply exist as a possibility. And possibility is infinitely more intriguing than certainty. Sorry for texting so much. Apologies are admissions of guilt. When you apologize for your presence, for your interest, for your existence in their life, you are framing yourself as a burden. You are teaching them to see your attention as annoying rather than valuable. Why are you apologizing? Because you fear rejection. Because you are trying to preemptively soften the blow of them finding you annoying by beating them to the punch. But this is a coward strategy, and cowardice is repellent. When you apologize for your behavior, you signal that you know you are doing something wrong. You are admitting that you are violating a boundary. But here is the twist. If you were actually high value, you wouldn't be violating a boundary in the first place. High-value people do not overtext. They do not chase. They do not need to apologize because they are not acting out of desperation. By apologizing, you are confessing your low status. You are saying, I know I am being too much. I know I am not supposed to act this way, but I cannot help it because I am weak. This destroys attraction. Attraction requires the illusion of strength. It requires the belief that you are in control of yourself. When you apologize for your own behavior, you shatter that illusion. You reveal that you are ruled by your emotions. And a person ruled by their emotions is a person who can be controlled. Machiavelli taught that a leader must never appear weak, even when they are. The same applies to seduction. You must never reveal that you are operating from a place of lack. If you texted too much, you do not apologize. You simply recalibrate. You pull back. You let silence do the work that words cannot. Silence is not passive. Silence is strategic. Silence forces them to wonder. Silence creates the vacuum that they feel compelled to fill. When you apologize, you fill the vacuum yourself. You rob them of the opportunity to miss you. What are we? This is the question that ends more situationships than infidelity. It is the question of the insecure. It is the demand for definition when definition is the enemy of attraction. Why do you ask this question? Because you are uncomfortable with ambiguity. Because you want security. Because you want to know where you stand so you can stop feeling anxious. But your anxiety is not their responsibility, and your need for clarity is not their problem to solve. When you ask, "What are we?" you are asking them to do the emotional labor of defining the relationship. You are forcing them to confront a question they may not be ready to answer. And in doing so, you create pressure. Pressure is the antithesis of attraction. Attraction thrives in freedom. It suffocates under obligation. Machiavelli understood that timing is everything. A prince does not demand loyalty before it is earned. He does not force declarations before the foundation is built. When you ask, "What are we?" prematurely, you are trying to skip steps. You are trying to lock down commitment before they have had time to realize they want to commit. And here is the paradox. The moment you ask for definition, you make yourself less desirable. Because people want what they choose, not what they are pressured into. When you force the question, you turn yourself from a choice into an obligation. And obligations breed resentment. The person who is comfortable with ambiguity is the person who appears secure. And security is attractive. Insecurity is not. When you can exist in the gray area without demanding labels, you signal that you are confident enough to let things unfold naturally. You signal that you do not need external validation to feel stable. Let them wonder. Let them come to the conclusion on their own. Because a conclusion they reach themselves will always be stronger than a conclusion you forced them to. I'm not like other people. The moment you say this, you have confirmed that you are exactly like other people. Because everyone who lacks genuine uniqueness feels the need to announce it. Truly exceptional people do not explain their exceptionality. They demonstrate it through their actions, their choices, their presence. When you tell someone you are different, you are begging them to see you as special. You are asking for validation. You are trying to preemptively defend against the possibility that they might see you as ordinary. But this defensive posture reveals your insecurity. Machiavelli advised that a prince should never explain his greatness. Greatness is self-evident. When you feel the need to narrate your own value, you undermine it. You turn yourself into a salesman, pitching a product that should sell itself. Moreover, this statement is a red flag. It signals that you are aware of a competition. It signals that you are comparing yourself to others. And comparison is the language of the inferior. The superior do not compare. They simply exist in a category of their own. If you are genuinely different, they will notice. They will feel it. They will be intrigued by the ways you deviate from the script. But the moment you announce it, you ruin the mystery. You make the implicit explicit, and the explicit is always less powerful than the implicit. Let your difference speak for itself. Let them discover it. Let them feel like they are uncovering a secret rather than being told a fact. Discovery is seductive. Announcement is boring. I'll do whatever you want. This is not generosity. This is erasure. When you offer to bend yourself into whatever shape they desire, you are not being accommodating. You are being invisible. You are admitting that you have no center, no core, no non-negotiable self. Attraction requires polarity. It requires the tension between two distinct entities. When you collapse yourself into their preferences, you eliminate the polarity. You turn the relationship into a monologue. And monologues are not interesting. Dialogues are. Machiavelli warned that a prince who tries to please everyone ends up pleasing no one. The same is true in attraction. When you mold yourself to fit their desires, you become generic. You become a mirror. And mirrors are useful, but they are not loved. People are attracted to people who have boundaries, who have preferences, who have a life that exists independently of them. When you say, "I'll do whatever you want," you signal that your life is empty, that you are waiting for them to fill it, that you have nothing of your own. This is suffocating. It places the burden of your happiness on them. It makes them responsible for your entertainment, your joy, your purpose. And that is too much weight for anyone to carry. They will run, not because they are cruel, but because they are human. And humans are attracted to strength, not to voids. Have opinions, have plans, have a world that they are invited into, not a world that is created around them. Let them see that you are a person with a life, not a person waiting for a life to begin. I don't usually do this. You think this makes you seem selective. You think it makes you seem special. But what it actually does is highlight your insecurity about the very thing you are doing. It draws attention to the fact that you are stepping outside your comfort zone. And stepping outside your comfort zone is fine, but announcing it is weak. When you say, "I don't usually do this," you are asking for mercy. You are saying, "Please be gentle with me. I am fragile. I am inexperienced. I am scared." And while vulnerability has its place, it does not belong in the early stages of attraction. Early attraction is about projection, not confession. Machiavelli taught that a prince should always appear confident, even when uncertain. Confidence is a performance. It is a decision to act as if you belong, even when you feel like an imposter. When you confess your inexperience, you break the spell. You remind them that they are taking a risk on you. Moreover, this statement implies that they should feel honored, that they are so special that you are making an exception. But honor is not given. It is earned. And it is not earned by you telling them they should feel it. It is earned by them experiencing something with you that makes them feel it organically. Act like you belong. Act like this is normal for you, even if it is not. Especially if it is not. Because the person who acts like they have been here before is the person who gets invited back. I hope I'm not bothering you. This is the linguistic equivalent of shrinking yourself. It is the verbal manifestation of low status. When you ask if you are a bother, you are positioning yourself as an interruption, as an inconvenience, as someone who does not have the right to occupy space. High-value people do not ask permission to exist. They do not apologize for their presence. They assume they are welcome unless proven otherwise. This assumption is not arrogance. It is self-respect. When you say, "I hope I'm not bothering you," you are giving them permission to see you as a bother. You are planting the idea in their mind. Even if they were happy to hear from you, your framing makes them second-guess. Am I supposed to be bothered by this? Should I be annoyed? Machiavelli understood that perception shapes reality. When you frame yourself as a burden, people begin to experience you as one. When you frame yourself as a gift, people begin to receive you as one. The content is the same. The frame changes everything. If you are reaching out, reach out with confidence. Assume that your attention is valuable. Assume that your presence adds to their day. And if they do not feel that way, that is data. That is information. But do not preemptively disqualify yourself by asking if you are an inconvenience. You are not an inconvenience. You are an option. And options do not beg to be chosen. They simply exist. And the right people reach for them. I've been thinking about you all day. This sounds romantic. It sounds like something from a movie. But in reality, it sounds like obsession. It sounds like you have nothing else occupying your mind. It sounds like they have colonized your mental real estate without paying rent. Attraction requires mystery. It requires the sense that there is more to you than they have access to. When you tell them they occupy your every thought, you remove the mystery. You show them the full hand. You reveal that you are completely consumed, and consumption is not attractive. It is concerning. It signals that you do not have a life, that you do not have other priorities, that you are waiting for them to text back so you can feel whole again. Machiavelli advised that a prince should never reveal the extent of his desire for an alliance. The moment the other party knows how badly you need them, they have leverage. They can delay. They can demand more. They can take you for granted. The same applies here. When you confess that you think about them constantly, you give them all the power. They know you are hooked. They know you will wait. They know they do not have to work for your attention because they already have it. Scarcity of attention is the foundation of value. If your attention is freely given, constantly available, and endlessly devoted, it becomes cheap. It becomes expected. It loses its power to move them. Think about them if you want, but do not tell them. Let them wonder what you are thinking. Let them wonder if you are thinking about them at all. Let the uncertainty keep them engaged, because certainty is the death of desire. Now you see them, the 9 phrases that collapse your frame, the 9 confessions of weakness dressed as honesty. You have said them, we all have, because we were taught that love is about openness, that connection is about truth, that attraction is about being yourself. But attraction is not about being yourself, it is about being the best version of yourself, the version that understands the game, the version that does not hand over power in the name of authenticity. Machiavelli was not teaching cruelty, he was teaching survival. He was teaching that the world does not reward the naive, it rewards the strategic. And in the realm of desire, strategy is not optional, it is mandatory. You do not have to become a manipulator. You do not have to become cold, but you do have to become aware. Aware of the signals you send. Aware of the frame you create. Aware of the power dynamics that shift with every word you speak. Because your crush is not evaluating you in a vacuum. They are comparing you to everyone else who wants them. Everyone else who is competing for their attention. And in that competition, the person who maintains their composure, who holds their mystery, who does not collapse into desperation, is the person who wins. Not because they are better, but because they understand the rules. And the rules are simple. Scarcity creates value. Mystery creates intrigue. Confidence creates attraction. And need creates repulsion. You are not here to be liked. You are here to be chosen. And to be chosen, you must first be worth choosing. And to be worth choosing, you must stop giving yourself away for free. Hold the frame. Guard the mystery. Let them wonder. Let them work. Let them realize that access to you is a privilege, not a given. And when they finally choose you, it will not be because you begged. It will be because you made them see that choosing you was the only logical move they could make.